Hey, what is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking all about the Doctor Voodoo campaign event that's launching for Thursday at the store reset time, called the Heroes Haunting, featuring the Spirit Slayer tag. Like other campaign event videos, we're going to be discussing the orb in question, the limited tag for newer players with some character suggestions, and then go over to the math to share how you all can get towards a 4 or 5 star Doctor Voodoo completely free to play. Now, there will also be some special shoutouts to the Morbius event, just so people are aware early on, because it will be running towards the second half of this event, and we'll find out what I mean exactly and why this is important. So, without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Okay, we're here in the orb section of the store, so I'm gonna start things off here. Pretty easy. We're gonna talk about the Spirit Slayer orb. Actually, it is called the Spirit Slayer orb. Okay, I didn't know that's what it's called. And we always take a look at the orb. What kind of characters are in here? Are they any good? What's good? What's bad? That kind of stuff. So the same left and right is the same 1 to 2 shards of Doctor Voodoo. The center as well, the same rate, so 0.5%. These are all just Doctor Voodoo here. But where it changes, of course, in the bottom two, what I call the consolation prizes, as far as that goes. So you get 5 shards and you get 8 shards. It's actually higher to get 8 shards. So there are a few characters in here that are noteworthy, I suppose, for different reasons. So I will say that even though some of these are crappy characters, Black Panther is available for the Chaos Theory event, also super important. So, you know, he's not a good character, but he is worth sharding up, you know, so it's not the worst if you don't have him at 7 star. Cloak is probably one of the bigger ones, despite him being farmable. He is obviously one of the top characters that are farmable in the game right now, so getting extra shards for Cloak if you don't have him at 7 star, and frankly, I don't either, because I haven't spammed raid orbs, this is actually a pretty good idea. Some of the other characters, not so great. Mordo, although he is part of... he's part of this Dark Hunters team, but a lot of people are replacing him with Hela. We have Doctor Strange, of course, Elektra, Elsa, and Ghost Rider. A lot of the Dark Hunters are actually on this. And then what's good is Hela's also there as well. We have Iron Fist, not so good. Magic. This was a little bit of a surprise, and actually I don't even have 4-star Magic, because if you guys remember, for those who were around for the event, Magic only offered us 150 shards, which was 30 shy of a 4-star, and to this day, since the event, I've only got 16 more shards. So yeah, I wouldn't mind getting a drop or two of this to get me that 4-star, just in the odd event that I do decide to level her up later on. But just not having that 4-star, not only can I not use her in the red star blitz, which is super annoying, I just want that 4-star, right? Some kind of trashy characters in here more broadly, though. Of course, Storm is part of that team with Magic, but Nobu, White Tiger and Moon Knight, they're both on there. Not characters that people should really be building now. And Baku's kind of in that kind of range with Black Panther, and then we have Thanos, who's kind of fallen off the table as well. So not really that many characters. I would say probably Magic and Cloak are going to be your kind of your creme de la creme consolation prizes, but some alternatives, I guess, would be the other Dark Hunters and Black Panther and M'Baku, just for Chaos Theory alone. So that's the orb in a nutshell. Let's talk about the actual characters, though, in terms of newer players and who you're going to want to use for this event. Now, normally I do this from the perspective of my baby account, so ignore all of the characters that I have like a really high level, because this is not going to be you, the newer player. As far as what characters that you might have and that you might want to build for this event, this is going to depend on when you start playing the game. If you were here for the winter patch and you happen to have Ghost Spider unlocked, that's a shoe-in there. A Cloak, also a shoe-in, someone that you should be building ASAP anyways. He is available in the raid store, so he is permanently available. Ghost Spider is not permanently available, so if you missed out on her, that won't be an option for you. Surprisingly, out of all of these, Wolverine actually isn't a terrible choice here, because he is very easy to get in the game for newer players. You get 5 shards from him every single day, and he is part of that Weapon X team, which is still a pretty good team. Some of these are pretty late unlocks. If you are going for the Dark Hunters team, they're almost all available there, including Mordo, so Ghost Rider, Elsa, Doctor Voodoo, and Morbius at some point, and Mordo is on the list too, even though he's not a Dark Hunters. There's a lot of bad characters, though, characters that you're probably not going to want to use, and to be honest, a lot of these characters are at the bottom for me. Nobu, Magic, M'Baku, Black Panther, Elektra, pretty much none of these are characters for newer players that you're going to want to build. Storm, Heimdall, White Tiger, maybe Iron Fist is part of Heroes for Hire. There's not a lot of great choices, admittedly. So what I would do, actually, is I would take, if you have Ghost Spider, Cloak, and Wolverine, I would probably take Ghost Rider and Elsa at this point, because they have had reworks, so their kits have been improved, their base stats have been improved. It's not going to be an overly difficult fight. And one thing that actually I should have mentioned earlier on that people are probably going to ask me, is this event going to be reworked? Because if you guys might remember from 2 weeks ago from the patch roadmap ahead, there was mention in there towards the bottom that campaign events would get adjusted, that they would that there would be a new hard mode, and the existing hard mode would be bumped down to medium. Now, from my understanding, that this is not happening for this character. It will be happening, I think, from patch 6.0 on from that. So from next patch onwards, don't quote me there because it hasn't been confirmed, but those adjustments have, from what I understand, not been made for this character here. So we'll find out if I'm, for whatever reason, totally wrong on some of this stuff. But otherwise, I think it should be the same until patch 6.0 and beyond. So characters in a nutshell, like I said, I mentioned Ghost Rider, Cloak, Wolverine, Elsa, and Ghost Rider. I think for newer players, those are probably your best bet as far as characters that you'll use more broadly. Other than that, it's, you know, the pick of the litter, I suppose. You know, it's whatever leftover that you have that you might reasonably level. I don't want to suggest Mordo, but, you know, he had a rework, so that's possible there. So that's all the characters here. Now, I want to talk about why the Spirit Slayer is more important, the tag is more important more broadly, and that comes down to here. That comes down to the Morbius event that we're getting. So the Morbius event is going to be starting on, I believe, March the 18th, which is going to be next Friday. And so that's kind of halfway through this event already. Why is that important? Because the Flesh and Blood milestone, if you guys have been paying attention, I mentioned this a couple of times, but the Flesh and Blood milestone related to Morbius does have a particular point scoring method down below at the very bottom here. It says spend 1 power core. So you're getting points depending on how many power cores that you want to spend for this. And so while this isn't going to happen until about halfway through the Doctor Voodoo event, I want to kind of let people know in advance that power core spending at all anywhere in the game is going to result in points for this Flesh and Blood milestone. So if you want to kind of save until more power coring later on towards that halfway point when this starts up, that might be a good idea. It's not to say that you shouldn't do it right away. You should have a goal in mind. Like I said, in all of these videos, you should have a goal in mind if you want to get a 4-star or a 5-star Doctor Voodoo. But if you're intending on maybe coring a little bit more, you could do that at the halfway point. That's why you'll get you'll double dip here, not only for Doctor Voodoo's event, but also for this Flesh and Blood Morbius milestone that's going to be available for him then. So just wanted to raise that really quickly before we jump into the actual math part. So alright, so let's get started on the spreadsheet portion of the video here. So we have the Heroes Haunting event. This is Doctor Voodoo's campaign event that's going to be starting on March the 10th, which is Thursday, at store reset time until March 25th for 15 days. This is pretty typical of most campaign events that they have that duration. Now, this is all going to be from the perspective of hard mode, so I apologize for anyone who may be really, really new running this on easy and medium, but this will be the perspective and rewards from hard mode. So when you're running through the hard mode, you do get a total of 27 free shards for clearing it. You get 225, 225, and 225 from each of the levels 1 through 9, or 1 to 9 here. And so that gives you almost a free-to-play unlock right there for 2-star unlocks. That gives you 27 out of 45 for a 2-star character. Some of the campaign events in the past have been 3-star unlocks, but Doctor Voodoo is a 45-star unlock. You do require 2,000 fragments per orb, of course, but I just say that just to make sure that people are aware. You know, there's weird instances like Thanos giving, right, where that was never the case. So just I always say that. As far as fragments that are available for hard mode, level 1 through 3 has 500 fragments available. 1-4 to 1-6, 600, and then 1-7 to 1-9, 700. And if you add that all up, that gives you a grand total of 5,400 fragments available, which is almost 3 orbs available and over 900 energy. So on the first day, it gets a little bit awkward because depending on when your daily reset is, sometimes, you know, how much energy you can put towards this is a little bit less than normal. So do keep that in mind as well. But typically this equates to about 2.7 orbs per day on hard mode, and we're going to talk about when we talk about power core investment and how much you want to do for that. So how do you get the energy generation for this event? Well, you get your free-to-play energy, and you get about 288 of that. So that's your 12 energy per hour times 24 hours. That's just that. 240 that you get from free refreshes, which is the 80 energy that you get 3 times throughout the day, depending on what that is for you. And then there's up to 400 energy available from cores, and this is the 100 energy times 4 refreshes. And yes, it is 100 energy for campaign events, not 120 like it is for your standard standard energy. So just to clear that out, some people have asked that in the past, and this gives you a potential total of 928. Now, that, as you can see, because of the requirement of 900 for hard mode, that's pretty much enough for all of hard mode and like 1 or 2 attempts there of medium 1.9. So we'll talk about that as well. So we're going to go with the scenario 1 here. Let's scroll that over. Can I get all this in here? So this is what I call the best case scenario. And this is typically what I do. This is normally what I do for every event, unless I'm pushing really hard. In small instances like Phi Level for Infinity Watch, I did do a little bit more than this, which I have documented down below. But this is about, this is over the 15 days. This is 3,000 power cores over 15 days that you'll need to budget for this. Outside, of course, your regular standard energy. Now, normally what I do when campaign energies are a bit active, I tend to spend a little bit less cores on other things that I'm doing, regular energy or otherwise, just to make sure that I have enough to do it for this, because depending on where you're scoring in the arena, power cores are increasingly more important. So what does this get you? Well, energy spent 928, similar to what we talked about in the energy table over there. And then I've also added some gold portions in. So you're getting a little bit of gold from this. You're getting about 1 million gold over the course of the event. In terms of fragments gained, well, it's all of what we talked about before that, 5,400 plus 2 attempts of medium 1.9. And so that gives you a total of 2.78 orbs per day. Now, over the event, that's going to be about 41.7. I've also added on the 27 free in terms of your total available shards. Now, this is going to be an estimation of 5.4 shards per orb. This is a long-standing value that's been calculated a very long time ago. I actually at this point don't have the reference for this because it was so long ago, but the orbs themselves have not changed for like a good 2 years. So this may be different, like I said, for next patch 6.0, because they are talking about adjusting the drops a little bit, I think. So we might see differences in the orbs, but we'll have to see. I don't think this is going to be the case for Doctor Voodoo. So with that 5.4 in mind, and plus the 27 that you get for free for the first time rewards, that's going to get you about 258 shards. Now you can see that's well over 4 star. It's about 4.5 star. This is the average, so this could be plus or minus 40 or 50 shards. In some instances, this has been enough for me to get a 5 star if my luck has been really good. In some instances, this has also just barely gotten me the 4 star in the past as well. White Tiger was a good example of that, where I did my 50 core refreshes and I just skimmed the 4 star. So there is a lot of leeway on either end. This is just an average. So 258 plus or minus like 50 or 60, to be honest. So you can get 5 star. It's just a bit unlikely. But if you're really lucky and you pull it really well, you might actually get this. So let's talk about some of the other ones, though, if you just want to really get that 4 star and 5 star. So scenario 2 is what I call the middle ground. This is 100 core refreshes, 250s rather, and this will give you 200 less energy per refreshes. Now, what does this get you at the grand total? Well, only 760,000 energy by the end of the event. But in terms of the total orbs over the event, it's about 34.4, which is, less than the 41.7 from the other scenarios. So you're, what is that? Almost 8 orbs less. But in terms of the estimated shards, you're about 218. So this is within the realm of the 4-star free-to-play. However, if you have incredibly bad luck, there is a chance that you may not. So do keep that in mind. And like I said before, one of the most important things that I can recommend to you all is have a goal in mind. Are you looking to get that 4 star or are you looking to get that 5 star? Because if you're looking to get that 5 star, you're going to be probably wanting to push into the 100 core refreshes in order to obtain that free to play. If you're in that 4 star ground, I would probably recommend scenario 1 anyways, unless you're core strapped for whatever reason. It is still possible to get this in scenario 2 and scenario 3 that we'll talk about, but your luck will have to be on the better side for that. So scenario 3 is what I call the worst case scenario. This is if you don't do any cores at all. This is like if you don't care about the character, pretty much. And surprisingly, the average is actually about 173 shards. You're opening quite a bit less orbs overall compared to scenario 1. And so you would have to have some good luck to get 4 star. This is pretty much on the higher end of 3 star. Unless you get some really terrible luck, then you might be like halfway through 3 star. It is possible to get 4 star, but realistically, if that's what your goal is, I would probably use some cores. And like I mentioned about the Morbius event coming soon, you're probably going to want to spend some cores. So whether it is in the Doctor Voodoo campaign or somewhere else, that will give you a good reason to want to spend cores. Now, Scenario 4, this is what I call lots and lots of cores. This is what you'll probably want to do. Scenario 4 and Scenario 5 is what you're going to want to do if you're trying to push towards that 5-star or that more guaranteed 5-star. So this is 400 cores daily, which is 6,000 cores over the 15 days. And this is going to give you a total estimated shards of about 301. So this is not quite at the 310 mark that you need to do. So you are going to be a little bit short. However, if you're someone who maybe bought an offer, for example, for Morbius, then this would actually get to you there no problem. Actually, for that matter, if you're looking for a 5-star, you could probably get it from one of the other scenarios, Scenario 1 above as well. But if you're trying to get to, like, say, a 6-star and you purchase, then you're going to want to look for things like this, Scenario 4 and Scenario 5. So, Scenario 5, this is a lot. Now, this is 600 cores daily, which is 9,000 power cores over 15 days. These are for the hardcore players who are really trying to push and squeeze out those cores. The difference is, once you get to Scenario 4 and Scenario 5, now you're farming not only all of hard mode, but you're farming like most of medium as well. So the top 3 levels on this scenario up here, top 6 levels here on this one, because you're trying to squeeze out as much energy you can get. So that's how it's gonna go. Your total oh my god, total orbs over this is gonna be 57, and then the estimated shards, this is where you get it more or less. This is 342 shards estimated, which is the 5-star mark. The only way that this would be not happening would be as if your luck is absolutely terrible, but otherwise your average luck and above average, you'll be well above the 5-star. So there have been people, of course, that have not, but again, your luck would have to be absolutely horrendous to not get this at 5-star. So keep these numbers in mind if you're someone who spends a little bit. You're maybe thinking about spending some on Morbius, thinking about spending, well, maybe some cores to buy his orb. If you're thinking about that, I would almost consider waiting. I don't know if you'll be able to do that or not, actually, for Morbius. Possibly, you might be able to wait. Wait, we're talking about Morbius. Doctor Voodoo, sorry, that was my bad. I got the two mixed up because we were talking about them. Doctor Voodoo most likely won't have a 675 core orb available, but who knows, right? Apparently some previous campaign events have had that. But yeah, because of the Morbius milestone that's coming out, I would be a bit cautious about where you're spending your power cores, especially if you are going to go a little bit harder on this event. So let me know in the comments down below, what are you guys planning to do? I'm going to be doing Scenario 1, which is the 200 daily, which is 3,000 over 15 days. And I'll get what I get, I guess. You know, like 4-star, it should be no problem. I'm not sure at this time that I'm really trying to push 5-star for Doctor Voodoo, especially with the Scourge events not being star-locked. As helpful as that might be, he is quite a bit of a kit character, so I think I might be fine with the 4-star for me personally. And if I decide to push harder later on, I'll figure out what I want to do after that. But that's this video. Hopefully it was helpful for you all, and that's Doctor Voodoo's event in a nutshell. So until next time, guys, stay safe and healthy and sane, and I will see you all later. Boilon signing out.